Alright, so what I've done over here is that I have this React application, right? I've set this up, I've cleaned everything over here. This is just a bare React app right now. And now we need to understand first the problem, that is prompt drilling, right? And how are we going to do that? We'll be replicating the same example that we took in our previous class, right? That family hierarchy tree, right? So what do we do? And yes, let's move forward. So what I can do is I can just go inside my source folder, right? I'll close every file so that you'll not get confused, right? So I've created this particular file right now. Okay, I've created this context suite project, so I'm running this project right now. So inside this source folder I have set up some CSS styling, right? So this is basically the CSS styling that we'll be using, but right now what do we need to use is we need to create some components, right? So over here we just have a bare React app, so we'll create some components, right? So inside the source folder I'll just go over here and I'll create a new folder. I'll say prop drilling. I'll just name this particular folder prop drill, right? Like that. So basically all the components that I'm going to create over here will follow prop drilling, right? That's why I'm naming this. So over here I'll create a new file. So first one will be the family. Yes, so let's say family.js, right? And then let's basically create all the components that we'll need. So from family we'll move to parent, right? Let's do JSX for each and every one of them. JSX, save, and parent.jsx. You can keep it as JS as well, doesn't matter, right? Family.jsx, parent.jsx, then we can have our child.jsx, right? And let's take into consideration two more components. I'll create them as grandson and granddaughter. Let me do a grandson.js. And let me do a granddaughter. Right, so I'm going to work with these 5 components, right? So what will be the hierarchy? Family, then parent, then children, then 2 grandchildren, grandson, granddaughter, like that, right? So that's what we are going to do. So let's start exploring this. So what I will do is in my app.jsx, I'll just render out my family component, right? So I'll just import my family over here. So import family. Prop drill family, right? So this is a component I have and I'll just render this out over here, right? So I don't think we have built the family component, so let's just build the family component one. So this will be a React function component export, and this is going to be my family component, right? So this is going to be my family component. Great. Let's check this out if I'm able to see this or not. So I have this family, I am exporting this, and in my app.jsx I'm importing this and I'm using this over here. I should be getting it back. Why am I not? Yes, as soon as I refresh I'm getting the family component. Great. So similarly I'll just add some styling to it as well, right? So similarly let's just create all the component first. So this is going to be my family component. Similarly I'll create my child component as well, right? So React function component export, and this is my child component. And over here let's create the parent component. React function component export, we have a parent component, and React function component export, we have grandson and we have granddaughter. Function component export, right? So we have these particular 5 components, and let's just give them some class so that we can see a division in them, right? When we render them out we can see a division in them, right? So let's first go to our parent, right? And in our parent component, or in basically our family component, we'll just give this particular family, we'll keep this inside a div, yes, and then what we can do is we can just say that we are returning a div with a class name, and let's just give this family, right? Like that. So this is going to be your family, which will render out the parent component, right? Because in the hierarchy first is family component renders out the parent component. So let's go to our parent and basically give this parent a little styling as well. So let's give this a class name of parent, right? And inside this, what we'll do, we're going to get our children component. So let's get our children component inside this, like that, right? Auto imported. not exactly React children I need my child component, right? So I need my child component, that is this one, right? I do not need React children right now, so I'll just remove this. This got auto imported, right? So I have child, so family, inside family I can just have my parent component. Inside my parent component I have my child component, and inside my child component I can have two components. One will be my granddaughter and the other one will be my grandson, right? Like that. So I've arranged all of these things like that, and if I see the app right now I can see things like this, right? So what I need to do, I just need to style them a little bit. So first let's start with app.jsx. So inside my app.jsx I have my app.css family, and this is family, right? So I'm rendering out the family component. Let's go to family now. So if I go to my family, I have a class name as family, and inside this I'm rendering out the parent component. Let's go to my parent component, and yes, so we will just give a heading out over here, right? We'll just say that h1, so that we can know that this is our parent component. So this is going to be my parent component, and I've given the class as parent, right? So I've just kept the CSS over here. I'm just making them a little bolder, and I'm giving them a little border, so that by that border we can differentiate between what is parent, what is child, what are grandchild, right? So like that we have parent, and let's then discuss about the child component. So in my child component I'll just say this is going to be my child, right? And let's, for the parent we have given the class name as parent, for child we'll give the class name as child, right? So for our child we'll just give the class name as, let's say we give this children, like that. Yes, so you see parent and child are differentiated. Now we just need to differentiate between granddaughter and grandson, right? So let's go to our granddaughter, and basically for our granddaughter I have a class as, basically I have a class name as g daughter, so that is your granddaughter, and inside this we can just put this inside an h3, right? And let's write granddaughter, and same thing we'll do for our grandson as well. So this will have a class name of gson, grandson, and we can just have this grandson inside and h3 tag. Like that. Let's check all the components out. Great. So now you see we have a family, that is your entire parent, right? The complete parent is your family border. Then we have parent inside that. Then inside the parent we have child. Inside child we have granddaughter and grandson. Like that we have created this particular architecture, right? Now what I want to discuss over here is that, suppose that if you're getting confused about the styles, you do not need to worry about it. You can just pause over here and you can just look at the simple CSS code, right? Just some simple CSS code I have given it, so that I can just differentiate between these components. That's all, right? Very simple CSS code. Alright, so what I'm trying to say over here is that let's now talk about that particular message, right? So suppose this family has a message, right? So now if this family has a message, how are you going to pass that down to each and every particular child and grandchild, right? That's the thing. So first thing what we are going to do is we'll go to our app.jsx, and first we'll have that message, right? Because we need to pass it down to the family first. So we need to have that message over here in our main root component, our app component, right? So in my app.js component, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create an object, right? So let's just create an object for this, and that object will be my message. So I'll just create one family message kind of object, and this object will just hold a key of the family name, just like that, right? Family name, and let's just call them Invincibles or something like that, right? The Invincibles. All right, so this is going to be the family name, right? Now what I want this object to do is, what I want this particular property to do is, I want to pass them down to each and every component, right? So how am I going to do that? Exactly, you know the way. You can pass it down with using props. Exactly. So how can you use a prop? So let me just say I create this message prop over here, right? I create this message prop over here, and for this message prop I'll just pass my entire family message, right? I'll just pass my entire family message. So what will happen, that for this message property, this family message will be passed down to the family component. So I'll have to receive it in my family component as well. So over here I'll just say that receive the message, right? And let's just try and console log this. So let's see if we are able to receive the message or not. Let's receive this, and if I go over here, if I open my console, and there is an object which says invincible, right? Let me just refresh everything. There is no error, and yes, now I'm able to receive these particular family name inside my family component, right? And these are coming 2 times because maybe we haven't removed the strict mode from our root. So I'll just quickly remove that, right? Main.jsx, remove the strict mode, right? That's it. So now we have it for one time, right? So this happens when we use the strict mode. Anyway, so now we have family name as invincible. So the whole object was passed down to the family. Right? Similarly, now what will happen, that this particular family received the message. Now this message can be passed down to the parent. So from app, we have received it in the family component. From the family component, we'll be passing it down to the parent component, right? So over here also we can have a message prop, and similarly whatever message we have received here, we can pass it down like that, right? Then the same message should go down to child. So over here we have child, right? So inside this also we'll have to catch it again like that, right? And then we can just pass it down to our granddaughter and grandson as well, right? Let me just show the message over here as well. So I'll just print the message one by one with every one of them. So with parent, let's print the message, and with my granddaughter, okay, I haven't passed this to granddaughter, but we'll be having this, right? So let's get a message to this as well, and let's print it over here, and let's get a message to your grandson as well. We'll print this over here, right? And let's receive it from our child. So we have to pass it from here as well. So message, pass the message, pass the message, right? Like that. So now let's figure out this hierarchy once. From app, we got the family name, completely fine. Now for this family name, what we did is we passed it down to the family component, fine. We got the family message, complete object. Inside, where we got it inside our child, right? We got it inside our parent. Then from parent, we are passing it down to our child that get the message, right? Then we are passing it down to our granddaughter and grandson from this child. You see, from this child you are receiving this, and then we are passing it down, right? And this message is basically an object, so we'll have to get the family name out of it, right? So I'll just say from this particular message object, whatever we have received, we just need to get this particular key. So I'll just copy this key for each and every one of the messages, right? Get the family name, then granddaughter should also get the family message dot family name, and then the family should also get the message dot family name. Basically for the parent we have to pass it down, right? And for our family, right? So over here if you see app.jsx, we are passing the message as family name. Then if we render this out over here, parent should get family name, right? And granddaughter, grandson, family is getting the family name, right? Let's just check this out, and now if I refresh, so message is not defined. Where it's saying in the parent, the message is not defined. So I go to parent, and yeah, so we haven't got the message over here. So just get the message, and for this message dot family name, and we are passing the whole object like that, right? So if I refresh everything, So now we have this Invincibles family name, and we should be getting them over here with our headings. So we have parent and family name. Why we are not getting the family name? Okay, this will be a prop for parent. This is a prop, this is a prop, prop, and app.jsx, passing this whole family message. Let's check this out. Okay, this will be family name. Yes, great. So there was just a little error. I just wrote message.family name over here where I should have passed the message prop, right? So let me just explain this again. What we did up till this point, right? I mean, I literally had to scratch my brain, right now. So basically what we did, let's understand this. So from our app.jsx, we have this property that we need to pass. Okay, this object that we need to pass. Okay. Now, to our family, we passed the family message. So the message went down to the family object, family component. Inside this family component, we are receiving this as a prop. So this is an object right now. So from this object, we are getting this object and we are passing it down to the parent. Now this parent is getting this object, that is message object, which is basically our family object, right? The family message. And from that family message, we are getting out the family name for my parent. Then I'm passing it down again to my children. Then my children is getting the family name. Then from this children I'm passing it down to my granddaughter and grandson. Then my granddaughter and grandson are able to get the family name like that, right? So parent invincible, child invincible, granddaughter invincible, grandson invincibles, like that. So it's happening like that. Now you see how tiring it is, right? Just to create this, it took me I was just tired. I was just not liking creating this, right? Because you see, we are creating multiple components and we are just passing down the prop from each and every component one by one. And just imagine that if you have a bigger hierarchy over here, if you have so many components that are attached with one another, so will you be doing this? I won't be doing this, right? I completely won't be doing this. And this particular problem is known as prop drilling. Why? Because again, understand this. What you are doing over here is you're just going to this app.jsx, you're taking one prop, right? This is one property you're taking up, and you're drilling this from family, you're passing it down to parent. From parent, you're passing it down to child. From child, you're passing it down to grandchild, right? So this is the way you're going right now, from one component to another, down the hierarchy, and you're drilling it down. You're drilling the prop down. That's why it's known as prop drilling, and this is not a good way of doing it. So to avoid this, what we can use is we can use something known as context API, right? Let's learn about that in the next lecture. In the next lecture, what we'll do is we'll refactor this code and we'll see how context API will do its magic. Thank you for watching.